Mike.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV Velocities in Music, one of the best kept secrets in music reviews. Today we're going to review an album by an artist who's going by the moniker Lightships. The album is called Electric Cables. Lightships is really kind of just the pseudonym for Gerard Love, who is one of the 3 members of Teenage Fanclub. Teenage Fanclub is a band that I really haven't had much exposure to, so this was kind of new for me. So just kind of with that disclaimer to kind of a little bit out of my element with this, just want to come out and say it. So that's kind of, you can use that to kind of evaluate where you stand. If you're a big Teenage Fanclub fan, I've heard that this is very similar to that, so that's something to keep in mind, because if your opinion differs from ours, and you're a big Teenage Fanclub fan, you're probably going to like this, whereas I think Tom and I are a little cool on this album just to come out and say it. So what does this sound like? Well, you know, and just doing a little reading on this, I found a good, somebody, I'm actually quoting somebody, although I forgot who I am, but it is a quote, or described as twee and translucent, just like most Teenage Fanclub stuff. This is very twee and translucent. It's typically what you have here is an electric guitar will start playing a nice kind of serene,
clean, washy.
Right. Yeah. And just a nice little melody will start, and then jazzy drums will come in, and then a very simple bass line will come in. And then, you know, there might be a little bit of pan flute here and there.
Some kind of watery sound effects.
Yes,
yeah.
Just very serene, kind of like you're taking a nice walk around, you know, like a maritime, you know, cape. You know, I just imagine like walking next to a lighthouse on Lake Erie or something like that. You know, that's what I would listen. This is a good thing for like a morning walk on a lighthouse covered beach.
Maybe a little rainy, kind of misty,
right?
But nice.
You know, if your beach is covered with lighthouses, this is the album you want to listen to in the morning. But in all seriousness, you know the main feature behind this is a lot of repetition, and then Love's vocal parts, you know, his falsettos, just calmly being sung over it, and it's just a very kind of hypnotizing, relaxing sound. And it really, I think, in my mind, comes down to whether or not you dig that repetition and like calm songs like that. Tom, what was your experience in listening to Electric Cables?
Yeah, you set it up really well there for the sound, like, and being kind of neutral about it.
Good.
To me, I was definitely kind of on the more just don't care side of things, I guess. I don't know how else to put it. This is a really tough album for me because I listened to it time and time again, and I never hated it, but I just never really cared. It was just one of those albums for me that I just could not get into. I could not really just wrap my head around, maybe. I really tried. I really paid attention to it, and just whenever I listened to it, it all just had that kind of same washy sound that just kind of washed past my head. As you said, very hypnotizing, which usually I get into, but I think just something about it just didn't really have that emotional appeal with it.
Right.
And I think most of that is from the vocals. I think they're
sung in a very airy manner.
Yes, and just not much energy, not much presence behind it, which, I mean, if there was too much presence, it would have gone completely against the instrumental backdrop.
Well, it'd also be a Led Zeppelin album at that point.
Soft instrumentals and then a really powerful baby.
Or just presence.
Oh, that's what you meant.
Sorry.
I thought you meant like their acoustic tracks.
No.
God damn it, you're just making a pun.
So anyway.
I get it.
I completely agree with you. I feel like I was at the same spot you were. In fact, I think we're thinking along the same lines. I figured out a couple reasons why it bothered me. You know, like I said, this, you know, you set up these repeating, you know, melodies, and it just kind of goes, and it's very hypnotizing, but you establish that and get the whole feel for the song in 2 to 2.5 minutes. Most of these tracks are 3.5 to 4 minutes long, on average. And to me, that's just way too much content that's just the same. And the thing is about this is that every single track on this album is very similar.
Yeah.
There's a couple standouts. You know, I thought the opener 2 lines in track 5, Silver and Gold were standouts. And Tom, you picked a couple tracks too, but all on the front half of the record. And the reason is for that, I think, is that the back half of the record just kind of regurgitates ideas that were established on the front half of the record and doesn't really add anything to it.
When every song accomplishes the same thing, then you're not really making an album. You're just making a collection of songs, which sometimes works if there's enough variety. But once again, if they're accomplishing the same thing, you just kind of have the same thing over and over again. And sometimes, yeah, definitely sometimes the songwriting mimics itself from track to track. track, but even more so, I think it's the production that really hinders this from being anything else, because when you have the small variations in songwriting, you really have to emphasize that with the way you produce it. And so if you have that just kind of washy, numb, kind of sedated sound throughout the whole thing, then the differences in the songwriting are going to be next to undetectable.
Right, and that's exactly what you have here. And overall, I just felt like there was a little bit of track displacement even. Like we said earlier, you know, there's tracks, you know, all of our track picks are kind of on the beginning of the album. There's definitely some ones that you could just cut and you wouldn't miss them that much. It just didn't feel, while the sound is established, while Love did a very good job of establishing a cohesive sound, it's so safe and it's so, you know, it just fails to expand on itself at all, that it just gets to the kind of frivolous and pointless by the end. And I kind of felt like that just killed it for me. And really brought my score down into a range that is kind of on the bad album zone, but not quite. There is some nice things. You know, I don't hate this when it's on, just like Tom said.
Yeah.
It's something that's nice, almost more functional. Like I said, for a nice walk on a beach in the morning, I would put this on. This would be great. But pretty much any other time, this is not what I want to listen to.
And we don't have any beaches around here.
We don't. We're in the middle of a cornfield, so you guys got to keep that in mind too. No beaches in Iowa. No beaches in Iowa. Definitely no lighthouses.
No.
All right, I'm going 60 on this one.
I'm going 62.
Well, that's good. You know, low 60s. That's about where this thing's at. Now, like I said before, if you guys are Teenage Fanclub fans and you like this album, that's awesome. Do not take, you know, what we're saying here like we're bashing your taste in music. That's not what we're doing. This one just didn't do it for us. So you know, go out. Love this album and just enjoy it if you do. That's totally cool, and we just wanted to kind of give you our 2 cents on it, and kind of, you know, for the big VIMTV heads who really know what we're going for here, I think that would be a good indication of whether or not you would like this album or not, if you're aligned with how we review music. So that's just up to you guys to decide. But it's all about you, and because it's all about you, we want to hear what you thought at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic, or hey, drop us a line at our Twitter account. So follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. That's where we do most of our talking with you guys, because you guys are always wanting to know what's going on at VIMTV, and that's what makes doing Velocities and Music so damn fun. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.
We'll talk